We had a good one this week.
We did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've had, other good ones in previous weeks. It just has felt like we've had a little bit of a sad streak.
Yeah, kind of a like uppy downy kinds of films. And like Almost Adults was it ended well, but it kind of took us on a roller coaster, to be sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A couple of things we forgot to mention in our intro.
Yes.
We got to screen a movie.
We did. Yes. And I had forgotten all about doing it again, saying something about it.
From our good friend David Axe in South Carolina.
Yes. Sent us a screener.
For his next feature.
Yeah. We're not going to shh.
It's good, though.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll probably cover it.
Yeah. This movie made me feel a lot of things.
It was, so there are movies, there are good movies, there are great movies, then there are, stuff down there. But out of all the good, great, and everything, there are occasionally those movies that just touch.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't have to be like the top 3 movies. It could be like way down on the register.
Right.
But if it touches you, it has a lot more meaning,
Yeah. And I really, really appreciate those kinds of films.
Yeah.
So I was happy to cover this one.
I just want to be clear.
Okay.
This is not way down on the rungs.
No, this is on the good stuff.
Yeah, this is in the top tier.
Yeah.
It's this a really good movie coming up. We do have a lot to talk about afterwards. Some stuff not specifically about the film, but we do talk about some hardcore lessons.
Yes.
That are prevalent through the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that when we cover movies, we're not always talking about the same lessons, right?
Well, there's only like 5, really. It's kind of like how many stories are there? There's really only like 5 major lessons, and we do talk about them, but I think we do it in different ways.
True.
Because every film utilizes things differently, and we also got another screener.
We did.
That will be in an upcoming episode.
Yes.
I believe the 20...
What's going to be...
Or the 18th of...
The next one after this one, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's going to be the 18th of July. And we're excited to talk about that one.
Yeah, unique.
Well. Yes. So we love screeners. And that one has lessons too. And there's just so many different ways to go about a single lesson, like directing. It's thousands of lessons for that. Technical stuff. Everything can be broken down, and there's so many different examples.
Right.
But anyway, this one has quite a few.
It does.
Not the least of which I'll just say up front is the writing. So pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the rest we should save for what comes after this.
Let's jump into it right now.
All right, let's do it. Hey B-Siders, welcome to another episode of Bravo for the B-Side. This is Jim.
And this is Danny.
Oh, here we go. You can do that through the whole thing?
No, I don't think I could.
Well, moving on.
It would devolve rapidly into something we don't want to hear.
Like some sort of Brooklyn.
Probably Australian, actually.
Jamaican, then Australian.
Yeah.
Nice. Good. Well, consistency. It's important.
Every accent I try usually, unless it's the Russian one I do for Biscuit, every other one eventually devolves into Australian, and I'm not sure why.
That is fair. That is the only one that has been consistent. But you've had like 8-9 years of practice.
That's true.
With that thing. Crooked here. That's fine. I'll just read it at a slant.
Okie dokie.
So.
Busy week.
Busy week. Yes. one would think a week without a child would be laid back. We've been busy.
Well, I mean, it has been laid back in several, ways, but in other ways, it has been very busy because we're kind of catching up on a lot of stuff that we're not.
Well, yeah, we've had opportunities. We started writing on our sci-fi action drama script again
Yes.
after an enormous amount of time not doing it.
Yeah, like an embarrassing amount of time. I'm
Yeah.
not going to say how much it was.
I don't want
to
to say either, but yeah, it was more than 6 months.
Dude, you're not supposed to say.
Well, yeah, but if I said the real number, that'd be even worse.
Well, now there's like a range. Oh, man.
Anyway, so yeah, getting back into that was good. Got some BF McGillicuddy, 5 episodes
Recorded.
And I think tomorrow night I'm gonna upload all of them and time release them, so it's just one less thing, and kind of stay ahead of the game.
Yeah.
That was fun, and the blue screen worked out wonderfully.
It did.
Yeah, no more fuzzy head.
Yeah,
that's what you get wearing a green helmet in front of a green screen.
What? Who'd have thunk?
I know. Let's see. We did some metal detecting.
We did.
We found Bupkis.
I found, nothing.
Yeah, this second time around, we found nothing. Oh, no, I did find 2 coins, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I found I found a nickel.
We may have to reconsider our location and go somewhere else, because that is just it's literally like
it's just litter.
It's like a landfill.
Yeah.
For 40-something years, people have gathered in this park for the city fireworks until they started moving them and, call them rhythm and booms and a whole new thing. And now they all go downtown. But
we could try a different location within the park before we give up on it altogether.
Yeah. But, the idea is to go to the locations where the people are or have been. And yeah, there's so many pull tabs because, it's Wisconsin. If there's a festival going on, there's drinking going on. I found some cool bottle caps, though. Surprisingly good condition.
Yeah.
For being like almost a foot down. It's crazy. Yeah, let's see.
We celebrated Jean-Claude Van Vacuum's birthday, his first birthday.
Yes, the Roomba app lets you know when the birthday is. So we put it on the calendar, and even though the Midge is not here to celebrate with us, we did, in fact, have a birthday for Jean-Claude. You can find it on our social media. Well, you'll have to dig by the time this comes out. But anyway, all the more reason to keep looking, folks.
Happy birthday, Jean-Claude.
Yeah, so we sent her a picture of us and him in hats and cake and a little video of him running around with his birthday hat.
And the child was very annoyed with us.
She was nonplussed, as you like to say. I think that kind of sums it up. Doesn't sound like a lot. Caught up on some stuff.
Yeah.
Some things that we, hadn't been able to watch for a while.
We watched Downton Abbey, A New Era.
Yes, had movie night.
Yes.
Yep, popcorn, soda, box candy, the whole bit.
And you discovered something incredible while we were watching the movie.
Yeah. Do you want to say, or do you want me?
You say.
So we're watching the movie, and they cut to a scene, and just make it real quick. Woman sitting at a writing desk, and my eyes about leapt out of my head. And I was waiting for you to say something, but then nothing. I'm like, did you?
I was looking at Isabel, not at the desk. I was focused on the characters.
I said, did you notice she has the same exact desk we do? And you're like, what? Quick, rewound. Sure enough. So that writing desk that we got from the secondhand shop that we almost missed out on.
Yeah, it was close.
Because we saw it and we're like, oh, we'll come back tomorrow. We got back and there was a pair of women looking at it. And you just so happened we decided, let's get it. And you went up.
Yes.
And started ringing it up.
Yeah, I grabbed the price tag off of it.
Yes. And
because that's how you do it at the thrift shop. You take the tag and you bring it up to the register.
Yeah, you don't hold the whole desk up there.
Right.
But yeah, so as you were doing that, and then 30 seconds later, they're like, oh, well, let's go.
See how much it is.
Yeah, see how much it is. And I had to break the news to them. My wife's paying for it right now. They were bummed.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, that's the desk. And it is the same exact desk, right down to the scallops on
Mm-hmm.
the ribbing and everything. Although, so there are two,
Funnily enough.
there are two like tall, narrow, almost like secret drawers.
Yeah, you could
know.
fit like a 24 pack of, number 2 pencils in them just
Yeah.
about perfectly.
Yeah, they're weird. But anyway, in the movie, they had them backwards.
Yes.
So, yeah, and it's easy to tell because, like, I don't want to get into it. But anyway, that was the only thing that was different. We're like, why? No?
Yeah, they look like pillars on either side of the central drawer.
Yeah, but when you pull them out and switch them, they can't go all the way in. So, yeah, in the one in the film, they were sticking out some, and it was the back side of the drawer. And so, anyway.
Somebody had them in incorrectly.
Shame on that set person. Do
Wow.
your homework. Do your homework. But anyway, so that was cool. So now it has now been forever dubbed the Downton Desk.
The Downton Desk.
Yes.
We have a Downton desk.
Yes, we do. I love our old desks.
I do too.
Oh, and we got our beloved Underwood typewriter back.
Yes.
And that bad boy.
So much has happened this week.
Oh, that bad boy types up a storm. No more sticky keys, fresh ribbon.
Beautiful.
The ribbon cartridges or the wheels were originally plastic when we got it, but he swapped them out and put some authentic
original metal
ones in there.
Yeah.
Oh man, this thing just is like whap, pow, 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 pow. It's like gunfire.
Yeah, you can type so much faster now that the keys don't stick.
Yeah, it's great. So
And you
it's
don't have
back
to
home.
Punch them.
That was part of it too.
Yeah.
And all that work for like next to nothing because that ribbon was like, oh boy.
Yeah. It was getting there. And we discovered how to like rewind. We discovered lots of things about this typewriter because he was like, check out this feature. Check out this feature.
Yeah, there are so many little gears and things and stuff. You just, you don't want to touch them.
Yeah, right. Because you're like, I don't want to fuck it up.
Yeah. It's not like mint condition because,
right.
It's 100 years old.
100, yeah, plus years old. So he's like, this is what this is for. This is what this is for. This is what this is for. And I was like, oh, I know how to touch all these things.
So, yeah, it's been a good week.
Mm-hmm.
A lot packed in there.
We got a new cooler.
Oh, yes, the last thing. So we're going on a tubing trip next weekend, and we got a floaty cooler.
Shaped like an alligator.
An inflatable alligator.
And his belly is where you put the ice in the cans.
Yes. So we'll see how this is going to work out.
I'm very excited.
I know. It's sitting inflated on the floor in the living room.
Right
now.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's all we've got going. Obviously, there's been some upsetting news. By the time this gets out, it will be 2 weeks old. But this was kind of a shit week. Major setback. We're not going to get into it because, again, that's just not what we do here. But it sucks. And I guess we'll see what the hell goes on from here. It went one way once. Went this way this time. It's not to say that it can't. I don't know. I think we're in for a rough ride, folks, for the next few years. With voting, and it's a slow process. I don't know how long it's going to take to get some effective change, but
Well, they've been working on reversing this since the 70s.
Right. And well, yeah, I don't want to get into it.
Anyway,
I'm
infuriated.
Yeah, we think it's wrong. Major setback for women. Period. And by major, I mean it's not even the right word. Monumental. But we'll see what can be done as time goes on. To put things back. Anyway,
so we watched a movie this week.
We did watch a movie this week.
One that wasn't Downton Abbey.
One that was not. Well, we wouldn't be able to cover Downton Abbey.
It's not an indie.
Another delightful surprise. Not really surprise. I shouldn't say surprise. Just a delightful film. And I guess for me, a little bit of a surprise because a lot of times movies like this they're really a female audience is where they're going for primarily.
Sure.
I mean, there's always one group in every movie is targeting one specific demographic, and then the rest fall into it. So, a lot of times it's not easy to engage with
I get
female
it.
audience films. That's why they make them for women audiences. But I love this movie. We had a lot of talking, which we'll do about. We'll do about. Oh my god! Of which we'll talk about more.
This is great radio.
Right.
I'm just gonna let you keep going.
You just keep yawning over there, like we can't hear you. I'm going to leave that in.
That's
all right.
One.
Well, why don't you tell us about this movie and let's get into it.
All right. I'm going to shoot some facts at you.
Do it.
This movie is called Evergreen. It was made in 2004, written and directed by Enid Zentilis, starring Kara Seymour, Addie Land, Noah Fleiss, Mary Kay Place, Lynn Cohen, Gary Farmer, and Bruce Davison. A lot of big names in there.
A lot of big names. I have loved Mary Kay Place from way, way, way back.
Yeah.
And she is one of my favorite parts of like The Big Chill. And she's done so many other things. And Bruce
Davison.
I know. You can't get enough of him. And folks, if you're wondering who he is, because a lot of people don't.
He's every dad.
Well, he's not every dad, but think of the original X-Men.
Oh, that's
the first
right.
X-Men film.
He was the senator.
He was the senator who turns into a jellyfish and then a water balloon and then bursts.
That was a flawless plan of Magneto's, by the way. If you don't like your senators, turn them into goo.
Seriously. Anyway, not that it's timely, but let's move on.
It was rated PG-13. The budget, I couldn't find any numbers anywhere, but in an article with Enid Zentilis about making this film, she said that it had a, quote, shoestring budget, end quote, just out of film school.
Probably.
Yeah, not a high budget film, but it doesn't suffer from that. Here is the plot. A young girl seduced by a boy's affluent, seemingly idyllic family goes to extremes to gain acceptance and escape her poverty-stricken home life.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I think so.
It's actually better than what showed up on Tubi.
Yeah, I don't remember what that was.
It was just a two-liner. Actually, it was like this one slightly run-on sentence. Like a young woman looks to a boy as the answer to pull her out of her
something like that.
Something blah blah blah, which was enough to make me look at it.
Yeah.
That's much better. They should change it.
Thanks, IMDb.
Yeah. So,
why don't you start us out?
I'm going to start us out.
Walk us in.
All right. So when we begin, we have some intermixed shots of a young woman. And then I had a view from a moving train because I there's so many different things going on. It's like different things, moving things happening. So one is like a train because you can see it go over the trestle bridge, and then it's from within cars. Then we cut to an older woman, and then cars driving on the road. So like someone filming through their windshield kind of thing. Then we see the young woman's putting on makeup, and then we see the older woman also brushing up her makeup. Couple more shots, and then we see the young and older woman at a bus stop. The older woman is talking about moving as a fresh start, and she's telling the younger woman that they will be staying with grandma until she can get on her feet again, meaning mom, obviously.
Right.
So then it's morning, and we see the both of them sleeping on a mattress on the floor. So they hear a noise outside, and I love this. It's grandma rummaging through some trash cans, collecting aluminum cans. And so the mom's like, "What is that?" And then the girl, I guess because she's a teenager, says, "It's your mom."
Right.
And I thought, Is it actually her mom, or is that like a dig? God, who's that? That's your mom.
It's your mom.
Anyway.
I gotcha.
Yeah. So the older lady comes in, shows them the cans, and she says she's doing it for extra money for her daughter. Right. So we have grandma, mom, and daughter. Later, mom says she and the daughter are going out to go look around town. Grandma's sitting and watching television as they leave. And this place, grandma's,
It's a dump.
it's yeah, it's a dump. It is clearly been lived in.
It is
but it's
like one of those places, if you're driving out in a rural area and you look at a house and you think, surely no one could possibly live in that place.
right.
It is one of those.
Well, and it's a whole neighborhood. It's
Yeah.
the whole end of town. So it was easily in the 20s and 30s normal place to live. But as we know, in certain areas of cities, that urban decay, whole neighborhoods just fall out of favor and disrepair. And anyway, that's where this house is, and it very much looks the part. So as they walk through town, mom is giving her daughter some life advice. Like they end up going to a casino.
For the buffet.
Yeah. So she's like, find a casino. They have the best buffets. And then starts giving her tips on gambling and payouts. And then they're eating in the buffet, and some creeper dude, like looking over his newspaper, is staring at him. And then he kind of like goes behind the newspaper when
It is very weird.
it is, yeah. So then we cut to later. They realize they've missed the last bus.
Mm-hmm.
So then we see them with Creeper Dude, who is giving them a ride home. And now this is, I got to try to explain this. So his car, the only door that works is the driver's side passenger, or the
Rear driver's side door.
Yes. And literally that's the only, so he has to climb in the back and then climb over to the front seat, so on, so forth. And on the way home, we hear him talking about how he made that car. He stole it piece by piece in his lunchbox for years working for GM.
Yeah.
He turns out to be not so much of a creeper. So
yeah, he's
I was waiting in this whole drive. I was waiting for the thing to pop up.
Yeah.
Right. But
well, it's like they call it Midwest nice, right? That is the term they give to it,
mm-hmm.
which is like people who are so genuinely nice that it can sometimes come off as a little weird.
It's not his being nice that was weird. It was that whole thing
I know.
Staring at them just above the edge of his newspaper. And it was a creepy look.
Well, he was smiling, right?
Yeah. I don't know. The whole thing just made me think. So yeah, for this whole drive, I'm waiting for that moment when like, there he is.
I'm going to murder you.
There's the creeper.
Yeah. But no,
he's actually kind of a stand-up dude.
Yeah.
Right? Stops, offers them, some like Starbucks and stuff, and drive up and just really,
right.
So anyway, before the thing is over, mom invites him over for dinner sometime. Then, as they're going to sleep, mom says she has a good feeling about the town. Things will be different this time. Now, this is her hometown.
Right.
This is the house she grew up in.
Yeah.
This is, so later, we see the daughters starting school. Mom says, don't anyone give her a hard time. They talk about using a different last name.
Right.
So, and a little spoiler, we never actually get into this. Like, was there their last name known for something? I mean, never really get into it. My only thing was I surmised like 3/4 of the way through that maybe it was just like a family name. It's not a huge town. This isn't a massive city, right? I mean, it's big enough where you need to take a bus, but in these areas and neighborhoods, they're small enough where, oh, you're a Smithson, that kind of thing.
I mean, I grew up in a town where that was the case,
Well,
right?
yeah, you grew up in a teeny town.
In a very small town where, and I mean, this movie gave me a lot of flashbacks of growing up
Yeah, I want to talk about
poor
that
with
at
a
the
single
end.
mother.
Yes.
But, like, I mean, there were, I would say, 3 or 4 last names that it was just generally known, whether or not you had ever met the person or anyone from that family.
Mm-hmm.
There were 3 or 4 last names that was like, don't associate with these people.
Yep, stay away. And, you know, a lot of times justifiably so.
Yeah.
Right. And that's kind of terrible to say. We shouldn't generalize, but let's be real. For the most part, you're safe doing that. Occasionally in a bad, you know, family, there's the one person who's, you know, a stand-up like creeper. It's kind of a stand-up
Right.
person, right? And they have to go through all that. And that's what I kind of thought they were maybe going through with the whole name thing.
I mean, maybe.
But it didn't seem to matter. Nothing
No.
ever touched on it. So anyway, moving on. I even wrote here, not sure what to dial in on that one. So at school, there's some kind of a food fight between 2 dudes. One ends up I put he drops his keys, but he like threw them
Right.
or something. Anyway, they land near the daughter as she's eating lunch alone on a bench. After school, she's walking and she picks up a basketball that's still out there and shoots hoops. And then the key guy joins her. And his name is Chad.
Or Chet or Chat.
Well, let's address this. So in the credits, it's Chat, C-H-A-T.
Like a talk.
And yeah, we decided on Chad. And even though now we know the truth, we're just going to continue calling him Chad. Because not to be an ass, but that was just a terrible choice for a name. It's just.
Yeah, I have Chet and then later Chad.
Yeah, but it's Chat. So yeah, not going to.
We're both right.
Yep, not buying into it. So anyway, they do a little jib jab. He leaves to go home. The daughter starts walking home. He ends up swinging around, picking her up. We learn his name, or her name is Henry, short for Henrietta.
Right.
Right. So Chad stops to get her a coffee. She has him drop her off at a judo studio, saying she's late for judo. So he drives off, and then she cuts behind the building to go home.
Right.
Lots to talk about there at the end. So meanwhile, we see Mom is having a smoke break at work, and it's some kind of factory. And then as she's coming up, she's wearing a pink smock, right? And then there's this like cosmetics commercial playing on the escalator as she's going up to the next level. So I surmised cosmetics factory.
Yeah. First Lady Cosmetics. Looked like the First Lady.
Yeah. So then at home, there's some small talk between all 3 of the ladies. Mom says she's going to look for a second job to make money faster to get a place. She tells Henry, they get into this big talk, like it won't be this way for you, and da-da-da-da-da. You know, the thing any good parent tells their kid, right? We're going through some shit right now, but you are going to do better. Right. Mm-hmm. And she's like, you're going to be able to do anything you want, da-da-da-da, and she promises. And then Henry gets a little snippy over that. And she's like, what? Promise what? How can you promise? What are you promising? And then Grandma tells us she used to wash sheets for syphilitic patients at a hospital in Latvia.
Yeah.
And then tells Henry that she should have a job. So Grandma came over from Latvia.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Mom was born in Latvia.
Possibly.
Because there's a little bit of the accent. It just seemed like she wasn't, like Grandma wasn't here for, 25 years and then had a family. Feels like because there's other conversations later on. It's like a little more substantive time in Latvia. And they kind of came over maybe when Mom was little.
I mean, maybe.
But anyway.
So then we see Henry is riding with Chad again. And they're stopping by his very nice gated house.
Mm-hmm.
And Henry's very intimidated, right? Because he stops. He's like, yeah, this is my place. Da 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 da. So she asks him to drop her off at the same place downtown, the judo studio. So they get there, and he asks her if she can come over sometime to do homework and hang out. And he's very gentlemanly about it. He gets out, he opens the door for her to let her out.
Yeah, I wrote it's kind of cute because when she initially got in the first time, he was trying to, but she was like too quick on the draw.
Yeah.
So this time he literally throws the door open, sprints around the back of the vehicle to open the door for her.
Yeah. And then he kisses her. And then later, she's walking around and she gets flagged down by Mom and the buffet guy in the buffet guy's weird stolen car.
See, should I call him buffet guy? Because I keep calling him
buffet guy because he's not creepy.
I just keep calling him creeper dude until we get his name.
Yeah.
I'll call him buffet guy. He's not a creeper.
Yeah. Just call him buffet guy.
Fine.
And Mom is asking Henry why she was walking from so far away. And Henry doesn't really answer her, just kind of avoids it. And then we learn that Mom is getting Henry a job at the factory, the cosmetics factory. Just kind of like part-time stuff, specifically under the table.
Yeah, under the table, extra work.
Yeah. And she makes it sound like there's literally nothing better that Henry could find. So we're back at Grandma's house, and I find it hilarious that Grandma has plastic all over the furniture in this shitty house.
Yes.
And it's not like the form-fitting furniture plastic.
No.
Right? That you put on and you use the hairdryer to like shrink it on. Right?
Yeah, it looks like
just plastic painting tarps that have been kind of
I was going to say like super thick saran wrap. I mean, you could just see it's just wrapped and folded and stuff. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So they're watching TV. It's very like things are very distant in this house. There isn't a lot of talking going on. They're watching a game show, and Henry gets up and changes the channel because she just can't stand it anymore. And then she gets a call from Chad. So this is where I originally was calling him Chet, and I wrote, oh, I think the guy's name is Chad. So Henry is going to go. Oh, she doesn't get a call. She just decides she's going to leave and go to his house.
Right.
Yeah. So Henry says she's going to go meet a friend, and Mom makes a big fuss. You have a friend?
Yeah.
Right? Insisting on buying a cab to get her there. Even though Henry kind of like is like, no, it's fine.
She just wants to get out the door.
Right.
Yeah.
And Mom asks where, like, this person lives, and Henry hides that he is rich because her mom has this like whole vendetta against the rich kids.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
She's been on about them like since they got there. So then we're at Chad's, and Chad's parents have a very pink couch with a billion cushions.
Think Mary Kay Cosmetics pink.
Right.
Right.
And then so many cushions that they're like sitting on either end of this very long couch. And between them is like 12 cushions.
Yeah.
It's like those progressive commercials with the guy who's teaching people how not to be their parents.
Oh, yes. It's too many. There's nowhere to sit.
Yeah. It's too many. And Henry has surprised Chad, but he invites her in. And so Chad, he brings her to like meet his parents, say, this is Henry, we're going to go up and study. And they start asking her all these questions about herself because they're parents who are interested in the girl that their son has just invited in.
Right.
Right. So Henry KUG about information about herself, says that her mom is a beauty expert.
Yeah.
And they ask about her dad, and we know there's no dad.
Yeah,
right?
she just fabricates the whole thing.
Yeah, she says that her dad works in cars or something. So they go upstairs to study, but that doesn't last very long.
No.
It's like 2 seconds, and Chad's like, let's hang out. So Henry looks over at his bed and asks to lay on it. And it's so funny because you and I were both like, she just wants to lay on a nice plush bed.
Yep.
Right?
Because it looks inviting and comfortable.
It's like big green silk sheets.
I mean, yeah, it's the same, thing. They're not much different today. I don't know if it would be memory foam, but it's from early 2000s. Nice big, this thing's probably 10 inches, 12 inches of mattress on top of, it's just
a nice bed. And she's been sleeping on a bare, no sheet floor mattress.
A gnarly ass mattress that's from like the 30s or 40s.
Yeah. And so she lays on it, and he goes up to it and pulls a condom out of his drawer. And she's like, what are you doing? And then we hear his mom yelling from downstairs that she has a baked Alaska coming out of the oven.
Yeah. Save that awkward circumstance.
Right? Also, who just makes a baked Alaska for no reason?
Chad's mom.
I know. Chad's mom does a lot of stuff.
Yes.
They offer Henry a ride home, but of course she declines because she doesn't want them to see where she lives.
She says her mom's going to come get her.
Right. So then we see Chad's dad and Henry's mom at the casino. They're sitting at the same table.
Mm-hmm.
And the buffet guy is the dealer at the casino.
Yes.
Which explains why he was like in the buffet.
I mean, yeah, I get it now.
Right. I mean, he could have just been eating, but.
Right.
Or why he was still there later.
Well, let's just back it up a little bit. He works at the casino because he's Native American. It's his tribe's
casino.
Or no, it's not his tribe's casino.
No, he came up.
He came down. His tribe is further up north.
Something.
It's further away, but they don't have a casino.
Right.
So he came down here to work.
Right.
Right. That's just kind of like lightly touched on, and then it has something at the end. I think it comes up again. But that is why he's there. Okay.
So I did make a note here. The editing in this part is a little choppy. And it almost kind of felt like, when you watch on a streaming service a made-for-TV movie where the breaks for commercials are mushed up together.
Do you mean?
So there's no commercial, but it was made for TV, so it was made to be broken up by a commercial.
Yeah. So the 5 commercial breaks, they come in. Well, they'll stop and then they'll come in, and a lot of times they're repeating the last line or two.
Right.
Yeah.
Or it's like the same shot, but a different camera angle because they're setting up for the next, bit.
Right.
Or something. So it just felt like that here, and I'm not sure what exactly happened.
It did.
Yeah.
That was, it was, I didn't note it, but yeah, it was a rough edit because as we started out with Chad's mom, Chad's dad, Henry's mom.
Uh-huh. There's like a weird cut, and then we're back on the same shot.
Yeah. And then like a minute in, I was wondering, did I fucking miss something? Are they together?
Right.
Because, it felt like something happened before. But
it felt like a scene might have been cut out.
But, and that it wasn't fully cut.
Right.
Right? Which happens a lot on video editing.
Yeah.
They'll get the whole thing out. And what was that? Shh. It was nothing.
Right.
So anyway, yeah.
But anyway, so Chad's dad is very creepy on Henry's mom. Like wildly inappropriately creepy. And the buffet guy who's dealing kicks him out.
Yeah, because he gets a little out of out of hand.
Yeah. And then Chad's dad ends up like handing a bunch of money to the security guards, kind of paying them off, and then leaves.
Yeah.
So no consequences for that. Meanwhile, Henry is walking home from Chad's.
Yep.
And Grandma is looking out the window worried. And then we see Henry waking up, and her grandmother and her mother are both in the bedroom, just in bra and underwear, staring at her.
Yes. That was just so weird.
Well, it is weird, but it's not weird because, I mean, like it's the poorer you are,
Well,
the less you care about things like.
well, yeah, it's just that both of them were dressed that way, and yet both of them were like leering over.
I know.
That was what just like wrapped the whole thing up for me. I'm like, what a fucking thing to wake up to.
So she then has an argument with her mom about how late she was out. Her mom's mad that Chad's parents didn't give her a ride home, or that Chad didn't, because she says Chad has, he's got a car.
Right.
And then her mom insists that she come to work at the factory for a few hours after school.
Oh, well, on her way out, Henry ends up breaking a mirror.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how many people will understand how this works. But then Grandma comes rushing in, just screaming and furious. Ever since you got here, all my stuff is getting broken, kind of thing. This was one of those many, many moments that we'll discuss that the writing captured perfectly.
I've so many things I can say.
I know. I just want, so this is that, you'll always, it plays out like this. You will always be welcome in my home. You're my child. If you need help and you can hear. And then if they have a kid, same thing. You and so, you and my granddaughter aren't going to be out, It all sounds great until it starts happening. And then the resentment starts showing through. And this was Grandma, because this was way out of proportion. I mean, yeah, it was a broken mirror, and Henry was being a bit of a bitch. But everything's being broken. Like, whoa, have you looked around?
Well, that's the other thing. It's like, this is why we can't have nice things. And you look around and you're like, is it?
Did you ever?
Are there nice things?
Did you even try? Because I haven't been here for a while. And ahem, look around. Yeah.
I mean, it's not okay to break things ever, right?
Yeah.
But also, is that why you're mad?
So Chad's looking for Henry at school. Can't find her because Mom made her go to the factory after school to do some work. And while she's packing a box, she boosts some makeup. And I think it was lipstick.
Right.
Okay. And then at Chad's later, they're kissing. And Chad is trying like hell to get under her shirt. It's like fending off an octopus. She's doing an expert job. And then he pulls this, and
this is great. I can't wait to hear you talk about this.
Everybody knows what this is when I say it. And if you don't, you're fucking fooling yourself, or you've been in a closet. I don't even know how you've managed to get a hold of technology to listen to this. So he starts laying the blue balls trip on her. The whole guilt trip thing of can't start and stop like that. And it's this and that. And it's called blue balls and it's terrible. And now I never heard it from this point of view before, but apparently a man's balls make a poison, the blue,
right,
in blue balls. And then it gets in his body, makes him sick. Right. So I had some thoughts on this. I don't want to wait till the end.
Go for it.
As reprehensible as that sounds, Especially now, this was 2004. It's not an excuse because it really hasn't changed that much.
Teenage boys don't change that much.
Well, here's the thing. I've heard this growing up from like my older cousin's boyfriends. Because, there's no privacy in a house when you have 14 people floating about. What do you expect? You can't go out back in the shed. I'm probably there. Can't do it upstairs. I'm probably there.
It's a 2-bedroom house, isn't it? It's not big.
Yeah. It was the one bed, my grandparents' bedroom, and then the whole upstairs was a giant bedroom. Because the other bedroom had turned into a dining room. The wall was knocked down. Anyway, so when there's a ton of people around, you're not going to get any privacy. So I heard a lot of stuff. And then I had friends growing up who were like, I tried telling them, like, dude, what the fuck is wrong with you? Does anybody actually believe that? That was my thing growing up. Now, I look back on that and I won't be so judgmental because now, having reached adulthood and lived a good long time, I understand a great many people do go through life without being exposed to all these little tiny bits of information.
Yeah.
That most of us take as just, common fucking sense. But here's the thing about common sense. Common sense, you have to have a set of parameters to judge the situation against, to come out with something that makes sense, right? A solution or a maneuver or something. If you have zero, right? Like if you were a clone and you got just enough shit pumped in your brain to like wake up, you have no common sense. You have nothing to base anything off of.
Yeah.
And I thought this was really because she bought into it, right? She started talking about how when women have babies and can't. Oh no! Period. Sorry.
No, she was making that up.
Well, she didn't say she was on.
Yeah, she did. She said that she.
Did she? Oh,
yeah,
because
she said that she was on the right. Well, that was her excuse for not.
Well, she started to say that there are things, and then they got interrupted. But anyway, let's just. Parents, if you have teenage boys, fucking talk to them. If you have young boys, talk to them. Here's the thing about blue balls. We all know it's bullshit. It's a lie.
Yeah.
There's nothing. There's nothing. It's just another guilt trip and it turns into a fucking Me Too situation and we need to stop it. But I wasn't offended seeing it because it was real. It happens even today and it's happened. I don't even know how far back.
I think it's happened since boys wanted to do sex.
I think it started happening when women weren't treated just like dogs, like when they started to voice, I'm not in the mood kind of thing. Because let's face it, you go far enough back in history, it's just bleak. But anyway, so that happens. And luckily, the call for dinner time. So yes. Chad's mom is either like on it or just a master of coincidence, right?
Well, I was, yes. And I was starting to like watch Chad's mom very closely at this point. Every time she was, because I was like, there's something weird about her.
Yeah, there's been a couple things. So anyway, Henry doesn't stay to eat.
No.
And just as she's leaving, Chad's dad comes in with a ton of shopping bags.
Yes.
Right? So anyway, Henry gets home. Grandma's making meatloaf and I was going to call him Creeper. Buffet guy is there. And we find out mom has registered to be a cosmetic saleswoman. Grandma asks Buffet guy if he's Mexican. And then he again reiterates he's Native American. His name is Jim. And then Grandma asks him point blank, is he the type of guy who would ever hit women or children? And then her daughter, mom's like, what? She's like, well, it's better to find out now, unlike the last one.
Right.
So here's the thing. I'm not saying this could have been cut out or should have been cut out. I think, though, by this point, we fully understand what's up with mom.
Yeah.
She's had it hard.
Yeah.
That's just pure and simple, just by the way she talked, things that we've mentioned, that she's mentioned. So anyway, better to find out now. So while this is all going on, Henry slips away and steals money out of Jim's wallet.
Yeah.
Like an idiot, right? Here's the thing. Teens do this and stuff, but I mean, we don't have like young listeners, so I don't feel like I'm passing anything on. But
Passing
seriously,
on any tips?
I mean, every kid knows, right?
You don't take it all.
You don't take, especially when it's like 3 inches thick of bills, like 1s and 5s.
Right.
Right. You don't do that. I mean, my mom and aunts used to go through my grandfather's pockets when he'd come home from the bar, and they'd steal all the change because he'd have no concept of it. I myself, would look for $1 or $2. And if I found one, and then off to the store I would go.
Some of my mom's boyfriends, they left their wallet laying out. It was fair game, but I wouldn't take all of it.
You don't grab a fistful because anyway, she does. And then she tries to leave, saying she's going to a friend's for dinner. Mom says, no, we're here and this and that. Henry kicks the table. Jim leaves, saying it's a rule that he doesn't get in the middle of things. And I thought, smart.
Right.
Another one for Jim. Henry says she can't believe her mom is hanging around that loser Indian guy. And mom, fucking Kevin Smith slaps her.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking Will Smith. I'm talking Kevin Smith. You seen Kevin Smith hit Jay?
Yeah.
The full. And honestly, I thought rightfully so, because she said some far more horrendous shit than I just wrote down.
Henry was being a bitch about Jim.
And, Henry storms off. So then we're at Chad's, and he's telling his dad he's out of spending money. And his dad just does what Henry did, only out of his own wallet. Just pulls out a fistful of cash, gives it to him. They have this weird chat about Henry.
His dad's a misogynist.
Oh, he's just the worst. Oh, she's a lucky little lady.
Girls can be expensive.
Bruce, stop playing assholes. But anyway, dad leaves. Henry is outside, and we see that her mom followed her, but Henry doesn't know this.
Right.
So her mom sees her go in and turns and walks away. Inside, Chad's mom's talking to Henry, offers for her to spend the night if she needs it. And of course, Henry jumps on it. And Chad's mom is super sweet.
She is very sweet.
She is not phony. She's not a plastic, pleasant person. By this point, you just watch her. She is genuinely kind-hearted.
Yes.
And just very sweet woman. Let's see. Elsewhere, Jim's filled up his car, goes into the gas station. He's got no fucking money.
Poor guy.
So he has to leave his car there.
Yeah.
And so he's hitchhiking to get home because he doesn't have money for a bus. And then we come back to Henry. She's in a guest room. She's got new silk jammies. She's in a big bed. And Chad's mom is there talking to her. And then we cut to Henry's, and her mom wakes up and goes to crawl in with grandma.
Right.
And then we have morning at Chad's. His mom goes out to get the paper. She's mad about something.
She's very weird about it. And I wrote in my notes here, I think Chad's mom is agoraphobic. Because she never wants to leave the house.
Right. But she's pissed having to go out. And we do notice that the car's not there. So I'm like, Dad's not home?
Right.
So she has to go out and do it. And then we see Jim talking with Mom about Henry stealing his money. Mom starts to rip on him.
Well, yeah, she's standing up for her kid. Oh, my kid couldn't possibly do this.
Right. And that's a tough place to be in as a parent.
Yeah.
Prior to all of this, her being a bitch that night, Henry really hasn't exhibited like rebellious behavior and, underhanded shit. So, and Mom just met this guy. He seems sweet.
Yeah.
But, maybe he's just a lying dick. So she's doing the right thing. But he lays into her as well.
Yeah.
Because he knows he's right and he's not going to have it. And then he takes off. So the Henry's back home. She's doing homework. Mom apologizes for slapping her. Says she has a family day planned. She wants to go to a museum. And it's free if you bring a senior citizen. And they kind of side-eye grandma. And she's like, no.
She goes, and then we could go to Wendy's afterwards. And I was like, oh God, the pain. Because I've been pitched days like this.
Yes. Oh, yes. So both Grandma and Henry try to back out, but it doesn't work. So then we see Mom and Henry at the museum. There's a little, nothing pointed. There's a little conversation, but it's kind of a nice thing. Mom is trying, to have some kind of a moment.
Right.
And it's that when you've got no fucking money, parents will do anything. Right. It's like we talked about, I can't, the name just left me. The one with the farm, the disposal.
Runoff.
When she got that money, first thing she did is stopped at the fucking Farm and Fleet and bought a pirate's outfit for her kid. Fuck yeah. That's exactly what a parent behind on their bills and shit would do when they get an influx of cash. Fuck it. That shit can wait. It's already not paid. My kid's getting something.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, 100%.
I just love that so much. And this is another one. She wants to have that family time. She wants to share time doing something other than being poor and eating grandma's meatloaf. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I quick aside.
Sure.
When I was a kid, I was walking home from a school dance and I was so mad because the dance it wasn't a good time. Right?
Okay.
Middle school, I think. And I am walking home and I kicked some paper on the sidewalk.
Okay.
And I look and it's a $50 bill. And I went, cool. That just made my night a whole bunch better.
Yeah.
And I take a couple more steps and another piece of paper. It's another $50 bill. And I take another couple of steps and another piece of paper and it's $100 bill. So I found $200 on my way home from a school dance. And I got home and I was so excited to tell my mom, look, I found this money. I want to give it to you so that, I know we don't have a lot of money.
Right.
Take this. But can I get like something, a thing?
Yeah.
And she was like, absolutely. Of course. What do you want? And so before we went grocery shopping with that $200 I found on the sidewalk, my mom took us to the pet store and we got feeder mice as pets. So I know it sounds weird, but feeder mice are cheap and the little cages that they come in are cheap.
Right.
Right. And she knew how badly I wanted just a little furry something.
Yeah.
And that she was like, absolutely. Before we spend any of this money on, bills or groceries or whatever, you're going to get a dumb mouse.
Well, and that's what it is.
And she was so excited that I found $200 also.
Well, of course.
Yeah. So, anyway, that's just kind of how it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Henry's at Chad's house again, and his dad is creepy. Man, his dad is creepy. He is creeping on her.
Yeah. That's some wholly inappropriate.
Gross, Bruce.
Right? But here's the thing. I think a lot of these people think, because I know a lot of people who do that kind of thing. They think
believe genuinely that it is being complimentary.
complimentary and harmless and not like pedo-ific.
Yeah.
It is, oh my God. Anyway.
And there was a time when I would put up with shit like that, and that time is long since past.
Yes.
So, Henry has brought them a ham.
Yeah.
There was a little scene where she was like watching some people go in and, like
coming out with these big cuts of meat and stuff. Yeah.
So this is her thank you gesture for how nice they've been to her. So she bought a whole ham, and it's a very awkward interaction because the family's like, thanks.
Yeah. Need to ask you a couple like a ham.
Okay. And the mom is very nice. She's like, well, tell your mom thanks for the ham. And Henry's like, no, I bought it. I did, with the money that she stole from Jim.
Yeah. Well, she didn't say that part, but
right. But so she has come like uninvited again. She keeps like popping in, right?
Yeah.
And Chad can't hang out because he has tickets for a game. He's also pretty dismissive of her. Because he is a teenage boy and she hasn't slept with him yet.
Yeah.
Is essentially why. So Henry ends up taking the bus home. And she gets to Grandma's house, and rain is pouring in through the roof all over her stuff.
Yeah. And
she's upset.
I mean, it might not have, it's just as if there were no roof. I mean, this shit is coming in.
It's pretty bad.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Which made me wonder, is this why everything's wrapped in plastic? Because this happens frequently?
Possibly.
I would imagine so.
Yeah. So Henry grabs some of her stuff and leaves. And as she's like walking through town with her stuff, Chad spots her and offers her a ride, but he's a real dick about it. He does the like stop, go
yeah.
bullshit. Ugh. And then we're at Chad's house, and I wrote, oh my gosh, Chad's mom is agoraphobic. She's literally online at Agoraphobics Anonymous.
Yep. On this big blog, and she's typing under her pseudonym.
Yeah.
Hey, everyone. I almost did this and that.
I almost went outside.
Julie, how did you? Da, 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 whatever. Yeah.
I mean, that's her community, I guess. She also has this weird visor that lights her eyes.
Yeah.
And it's
she's
for
wearing
some pseudoscience health thing, I'm sure.
It's
but I don't know what.
It's an ultraviolet light visor.
Okay.
Right. So, they have the sun.
Because she never goes outside.
Actual sun lamps.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not enough to get the sunlight on your skin. That's just for the vitamin D. But that's why they have these lights. They tried it where it shines ultraviolet light from inside that visor down across your eyes. And that triggers your brain to give you the outside feelings.
Oh.
Right. So there's a thing there. That's why we feel stuffed and cloistered when we can't get out and stuff in the winter, or it's just pandemic. Without being out in the sunlight, mentally things start to happen. So I do remember, because when I saw that, I'm like, that nails it. And then she sat down at the computer and stuff. I'm like, yeah. But yeah, it does. It triggers stuff in the brain to not make you feel as. Now, I don't think it's like super good, but anyway.
Right. So then Henry's mom is at the gate under the guise of the cosmetics company. Smooth. She's a smooth operator.
She is.
And Henry kind of answers the door and is like, what are you doing here? And she asks Henry, like, what's turning you against your family? Why are you ashamed of us?
Mm-hmm.
And then Chad's mom, Henry insists that her mom, whose name is Kate or Katie.
Yeah, I just went with Kate.
Yeah. Doesn't give away that they're related. Yeah. And Chad's mom invites her in. She's very excited to get the sales spiel. She sits down. She's like, okay, sell me.
Yep. And she does, and Kate starts to really.
Right. And
get
Kate's
into
like,
it.
okay.
You know, she fumbles for like 4 or 5 seconds. And
She did not think this would work. She was not prepared to actually give a sales spiel.
No.
Right.
But there we are.
Right. Meanwhile, Henry is in the bathroom having an embarrassed breakdown. Right.
Yeah.
She's like in the tub, just sitting there.
Yep.
No water, no nothing.
Everything bad in the universe has just converged.
Well, it's so funny. And I love that they have her in the tub because that's like in a nuclear apocalypse.
Yep.
Right.
Duck and cover or run to the tub, folks.
And that's what she's doing because she's in the middle of a nuclear apocalypse of embarrassment.
Absolutely.
Right. I mean, so Chad's mom is then like, oh, my son's girlfriend is here and she's so sweet and you need to give her a makeover. I think that'll be just the thing to cheer her up and anything she wants.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I'll buy it for her.
Right. She also has bought like the entire spring collection or something.
Yeah, the whole thing.
All of it.
Yeah. And she's like, you don't.
With very little effort from Kate on selling it.
Yep.
And Kate's like, okay.
Like, nope.
I'll just take it.
Yep. How much?
So, as she's talking about, giving the makeover to Henry, Chad pipes in, little fuck, that she looks rough around the edges. He's like, yeah, she really needs one. She's
very, very much his dad.
Yeah.
In that line.
Yeah.
I thought, whoa, easy
right.
there, little dick.
Right? Fuck this little rat. And I liked him at first because, like the other boys were like, oh, just
sexist fucking teenage boys.
Right.
That's just the only way to put it.
Yeah. But anyway, so it's hilarious because Kate gives Henry a makeover and the makeover is the same exact makeup that Kate is wearing.
Yes.
And then she like grabs Henry's face and turns it to Chad and puts her face right next to it. And she's like, what do you think?
Yep.
Clearly trying to like point out, do you see a resemblance?
Yep.
So Henry grabs Chad, runs upstairs and starts crying. And he doesn't understand why.
Right.
And then Henry pulls off Chad's pants. Oh, Henry.
Yeah.
Downstairs, Kate is packing up and Chad's mom asks her to take the trash out for her.
Not before Kate swipes a bottle of wine, though.
Right.
Good wine.
Yeah. Hey, get it, Kate, I guess. They'll never miss it. And Chad's mom, it's so funny because Kate's so confused. And Chad's mom's like, if you could, though, just take this out for me. And I think the funny part is that Kate thinks that Chad's mom is being a bitch and thinking that she's like the help.
Right.
And Chad's mom literally is just terrified to walk outside.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
It's not that she is looking down on Kate. Right?
So uncomfortable.
Upstairs, Chad is telling Henry that it feels like she's part of the family.
Yeah.
And I don't know why I was just like, ick, ick, ick. I hate this. Nope.
It's really weird.
It's icky.
Yeah.
In a way that I can't quite quantify.
Yeah.
And then Henry realizes after having sex with Chad that she isn't really that into him. And he apparently feels differently or thinks he does anyway.
Right.
Because afterwards, he's all very lovey to her. And she's kind of like, huh. So that's it, huh?
Yeah.
So then we see Kate talking to Jim. And she really likes him. They've kind of made up. He seems like a very decent guy.
Right.
Right. Kate is struggling with her kid being ashamed of her. And he's kind of helping her with that. And then we see Henry making herself at home at Chad's.
Yeah.
Right?
fucking settled it on the couch between mom and dad.
She is leaning into using this boy for his comforting lifestyle.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And the family is a little taken aback by her behavior because they have been trying and like, stay, make yourself at home. But there's a difference between saying that and then the person actually making themselves at home in your home. And you're like, So dad decides he's going out, Chad's dad.
Mm-hmm.
And then Chad's mom doesn't want him to go because he leaves all the time. He's constantly out. And Henry is starting to see the hidden dysfunction of this family.
Which is huge.
Pretty big.
Huge.
It's real big. And so dad is trying to force mom to go outside, and he's literally manhandling her. And she is screaming bloody murder.
Yeah.
And Chad's trying to stick up for her.
Yeah.
His mom.
Yeah.
Right?
She doesn't like it. Just leave her be. Blah, blah, blah.
Right. And Henry's like, I'll get some water. And then when Henry is leaving the house after this whole incident, Chad is clearly embarrassed by this whole situation.
Yes.
And asks her to keep it between them. So Henry, disillusioned now, realizing that even Chad's family isn't perfect.
Right.
Has gone to grandma's, and at grandma's house, there's a note that on the fridge that grandma left for vacation.
Yeah. Gone on vacation. Dinner's in the fridge.
Right. And Henry's in the house all alone. And like her mom isn't coming back to the house.
Right.
So she goes to the casino looking for Jim and ends up tracking down her mom and Jim at the market.
Yeah.
And she hugs her mom and apologizes. And then we have a 6 months later, they have their first car. Like it's the first car that Henry and her mom have had.
Yes.
And they're talking about looking at houses soon.
Mm-hmm.
And then we see Henry getting to practice drive the car.
They pull into a driveway. They switch places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the movie.
Yeah. Well, and Jim is in the car.
Oh, yeah. Jim's there too.
Yeah. So they've become kind of a unit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the movie. All right. So let's talk about this thing.
Yeah.
Now, I know you have a lot of things. Would you like to start?
Well, I know you do too.
Yes. But you can start.
They say that you should write about what you know.
Another example.
Yeah. Clearly, Enid, the writer-director, knew a lot about growing up poor with a single mother
Mm-hmm.
in a rural-ish area. And it shows because this was so raw and so real that it was almost painful to watch.
Same thing, because we talked about this at length.
Right.
I think though, so a lesson, you write what you know. I am going to say, don't be afraid to include. So as a writer, just a writer, it's hard to include all the visual stuff, right? Because you're just writing a script. It's just the words and stuff.
Right.
But do as much as you can, get into it. But in a situation like this, it wasn't the words and the actors that really brought it forth. It was all of the background. It was the scene, the sets, every detail of this thing did everything for the actors to give them a platform to sell it.
Yes.
Right. And I think people who have not grown up this way and are not familiar with this kind of life will miss a lot of the visual cues.
Of that detail, yeah.
So I'm just going to talk about Granny's house.
Sure.
Right? It's got two things going. One, it's got Granny house where there's like tchotchkes and stuff everywhere. But it is so not in order. Right? Things are randomly placed.
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense because there's either not room or there's just a pile of shit in the background that you don't know what it is,
Yeah.
how long it's been there. The rain with all the buckets and stuff, that's not common,
Right.
right? Being poor doesn't mean you necessarily have a house that's, I'm talking gallons of fucking water coming into this thing.
It was a
right?
lot. Yeah.
But yeah, it was the same watching it. I had great respect for the writing and the direction of this and the set assembly.
Yeah.
And I don't mean just grandma's house. I mean
The town.
the town, everywhere they showed Kate at work and everything. The slight change in color, right?
Yeah.
The filtering that they used really captured the emotional state. I mean, yeah, Kate has a job now. It's not the job she wants. It's not a ton of money, but it's money, right? And we've all, we've been there. Money's money.
Yeah.
I mean, we both had shit jobs.
Yeah.
When those times have had to be, especially early on.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's always that wanting more and wanting more than what you can do. That whole thing with Family Day, right? That was huge for her.
Yeah.
And she wasn't going to take no for an answer.
Oh, no. No.
Because as a parent, it's like, whether you fucking enjoy this or not, it's happening. Because I'm going to go to bed saying I did this for you, and I'm going to sleep well because
I did something.
Yeah, I don't fucking care if you were into it or not. That's on you, right? And to a point, it is. Kids can be shits, and it's like, we're doing this thing, and they can act like total, fucknards and everything and whatever, But as a parent, it's like, yeah, you made the choice. I gave us this opportunity. So do with it what you will. And we don't have these opportunities often, right? So it's a big deal. And, it was just done so well. Everything, like when they're at the museum, it's this weird little museum. Mm-hmm. I'm not really sure what it was all about. It looked like it was maybe a tribal museum. They had a lot of Native
It's a local history museum.
Things. Yeah. Okay. Wasn't a whole lot of the other kinds of history, which is fine. It's cool. I just thought, like it was maybe like the casino museum.
Maybe.
Kind of thing, But yeah, so many visual cues. I mean, there's like lesson number 1, location. You work with the locations you have, but boy, when you got a location, dress that shit up. It costs nothing, right? If you need a rundown looking place, you don't need to find a rundown looking place. You get to get a fucking penthouse. And with a little bit of this and that, right, you can make it look run down. I think of Blake Ritter, the guy on YouTube who's been shooting all these shorts like before, during, and after the pandemic, right?
Yeah.
He did a video on how he turned his apartment into a fucking hospital simply by painting a blue line like 4 feet up the fucking wall.
Right.
The places that he shot, he's like, it's a clinic. And it's funny because when you see the scene that he shot, it's like, it looks like a clinic. Oh, he stuck one of those paper holder things on the wall.
Oh, sure.
Where they always put the charts. That line made the difference. How many times have we seen hospitals and clinics in indie film and in B movies where it's like, it really just looks like a bedroom.
Right.
But anyway, this house, wherever they found it,
yeah,
they made the most of it. Holy shit.
It was wild.
Yeah. So yeah, the writing was superb in giving us this lifestyle and these people's story. But yeah, technically the sets sold it.
100%.
Yeah.
And even to Chad's house, like the parents' house, right?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
It's funny because even for 2004, it looked so 80s with that Mary Kay couch. And you understand, though, towards the end, because mom's agoraphobic, that's all she does.
Yeah.
All she has to do in her life, because she doesn't work, obviously, because
Right.
You know, nowadays though, she could work because the remote work is so
Yeah.
prevalent, you know, but back then it really wasn't. And she was content spending her time in the house. And it showed, oh my God, to the point of gaudy.
It was very gaudy.
Yeah, it was like the full opposite end of grandma's house,
Yeah.
right? But it did look very 80s as well, which makes me, you know,
I felt like it looked very 90s.
I would say early 90s. I would still feel it had a lot of 80s feel to me.
Sure.
90s. But here's the thing. That was logically, that's the period she would have, quote, come of age, you know, as an adult, right? And that's the kind of stuff that she would have brought forward. So it worked.
Mm-hmm.
It worked. Now, also when I think of 80s, you also think of like Golden Girls, but that's also like 80s in Florida in a bunch of retirees with the pastels and gaudy stuff.
And the wicker furniture.
Well, and let's not forget Miami Vice that, you know, celebrated the entire, how ridiculous can we get with these color schemes and stuff. So, yeah.
The writing was phenomenal.
Yes.
I mean, just a couple of little like bits I'm kind of pulling out of the ether here. The dialogue of the mom of Kate, insisting on looking on the bright side for everything.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And like the daughters were, you know, just like how they handle their interactions with other people.
Mm-hmm.
And then how their interactions are different at home.
Yes.
Was very real.
Yes. So I'm going to pull the one thing that really stuck out was Kate's speech to Jim at the end.
Okay.
I have been treated like shit. I've been treated the worst ways possible. I've been to the lowest lows. I've, you know, been treated like dirt. My life has been shit. I've, you know, haven't had hope for a long time, but none of that feels as bad as knowing my daughter's embarrassed of me.
Yeah.
Right. Boom. That right there. If this script was shit up to that point, this would have redeemed the whole thing. But here's the deal. The script was brilliant.
It was brilliant.
Right up to that point, and that just sent it out of the park, you know, because it wasn't grandiose. It wasn't an Oscar nominee, you know, we have to get the gut-wrenching speech and all that so we get a fucking nominee to bring home a statue. This was just true hardcore writing.
Yeah.
And it was all true. And that, the way her speech was worded and the way it was delivered made it genuine.
Right.
Not like, oh, here it comes, the Oscar speech. Right. And this whole thing was really like down to earth.
Well, I mean, yeah, I've got a good feeling about this town. You know, there's opportunities in moving. You know, advice about the school, right?
You can't live that way. And, you know, this isn't guessing. This is from experience. You know, we both grew up this way. And as a parent, you come to realize, well, of course, you can't sit with your kid and fucking cry and pout and moan and, you know, have all that breakdown bullshit in front of your kid. Because number one, you don't want to do that to them.
Yeah.
You know it's already bad enough. But number two, you can't give in like that. You know?
Right.
There are moments when parents in that situation will have the late night cry, right? To let it out.
Oh, yeah.
But here's the thing. You've got to try and bullshit enough to believe it. Because otherwise you're just going to like walk in front of a train. You have to believe the thing that you're doing is going to make this all worth it and all better.
Yeah.
You know?
We moved around a lot when I was a kid. Not always from town to town.
Right.
Right. But what happens when you are, you know, without a lot of means is that you end up continually getting priced out of wherever you're living,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
then you have to move to somewhere that is back into your bracket,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that happens every couple of years.
Yeah. And you are stepping down each time.
Right.
Yeah.
But every time we moved, my mom was like, isn't it exciting? Check it out. I bet this could be your room. Like she found a way to make it like exciting. Like we're finding a new place, you
Yeah.
know, we can do all this stuff. And I didn't really realize until I got older and I saw, you know, my friends who had been in the same house for 10 years.
Yeah.
Right? Or they'd grown up in this house since they were a baby.
Yeah.
And realized that it wasn't normal to move every couple of years, to not have a house that like holds all of those memories. So to me, growing up, a house is just a shelter.
Right. I wouldn't say that it was not normal. I mean, there's the reason we have apartments is because, you know, families, I mean, it's just always been that way. You know, families live in apartments and stuff because homes, or they get a home and it's in a really bad place because it's what they can afford. So they want to get the hell out of there. You know, I think it's 50-50. Anyway, let's see. The performances were great.
They were great.
I still question the introduction of Creeper,
Yeah.
buffet guy /
but,
Jim,
you know,
because that was just when you have a movie focused on a single mom who's just, you know, one rung above being like homeless and starving,
mm-hmm.
right? When you see someone creeping them, you just immediately, I feel like, oh God, we're going to go there. This is going to be a really weird, awkward, nasty, filthy situation, you know?
Right. But
So,
I mean, the introduction maybe could have been handled differently.
a little bit.
But I like that Jim is not like a mythical knight in shining armor for Kate.
No.
He's just a normal, nice guy.
Yep. And when she gave him shit, he gave it right back. When they had that argument.
Right.
Yeah. Now,
but like he doesn't sweep her off her feet. He doesn't love bomb her. He's just a normal dude.
Yeah, he lives in a trailer.
Yeah.
In a nasty little trailer.
Yeah, it's
in a nasty
not great.
little trailer park, like one of those like 8 trailer, like they stuck him on a lot and just the city let him be there forever.
And only one door on his car open.
I love that fucking sled.
Oh boy.
But yeah, he's not rich. He's not sweeping her off her feet. He's not coming in to save anything. But when they, you know, before the, you know, end of second act kerfuffle, he genuinely was building a relationship, understand this woman had a daughter,
mm-hmm.
and he wasn't trying to be dad, wasn't trying to fill anything in.
No.
Just like, you know, we're 3 people and, you know, this woman and I are kind of hitting it off and, you know, and include the daughter and we'll just, you know, try and be happy and together. No grand dreams of we're going to run off and do this and that. And I have a fortune stashed. So again, it was very real. And what made this story credible is that it didn't have that to fall back on.
Right.
Which so often happens.
Oh, constantly.
You know, you tow the rope long enough, someone with a lot of money is going to come and sweep you up and everything will be fine.
So, yeah. Yeah. Henry, the other bit that made this, you know, the main character, right? The other bit that made this real is that I could relate to her so hard. You know?
Yeah, and that's where, like I said at the beginning, I always worry I'm not going to be able to fully involve myself, right? Because I'm not female. I didn't grow up a little girl. I didn't, you know, grow into womanhood. I didn't go through any of that. Now, I witnessed a lot of it. So a lot of this is always familiar to me. And occasionally sometimes, it's like a little eye opener, like, oh, that's an aspect, I wasn't hiding in the closet spying on learning this bit of life. And I know you are going to resonate with this way more than me, but I surprisingly did not feel left out in the cold, but I did lack that full 100%
Sure.
attachment.
Sure. I mean, it's in her, this, when she goes to school, this is just a new, another new school, right? And making friends isn't important because you're not going to be here for long. And, so you just learn to handle things yourself, do things on your own. You accept friendships when they come your way.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You're not actively pushing people away.
Right.
But you're also just not working that hard for it. Right?
Yeah.
Because you've learned it's not that important.
No.
And then her absolute dread at Chad finding out that she lives in that dumpy house with her mom and grandma.
Right.
Right. Finding out who she really is. And I'm doing air quotes around this. Right. And creating those kind of separate lives for herself. You do that. Right?
Yeah.
You don't ever let your friends know, or God forbid, someone that you're interested in.
Right.
That your, backpack is from 2 years ago and that all your clothes come from a thrift store or are hand-me-downs.
Yeah.
Or that rather than the beautiful rosemary chicken full on dinner spread that Chad's mom has prepared, right? That you are going home to Salisbury steak.
Or grandma's meatloaf.
Now,
I love me a good meatloaf. But what she was doing in that pot.
It was wrong.
Yeah. I was just mortified.
It was objectively wrong.
That can't be meatloaf, please. And then later she's like, where are you going? We're having meatloaf. And I was like, oh.
Right. Or your friends invite you to, go to lunch or get coffee or whatever.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, I'm okay. I'm not hungry. Because you don't have any money.
Right. It played all of that perfectly.
Yeah.
And it didn't over dramatize. That's the other thing too.
Right.
Because a lot of times stories like this will get lost because the writing overdoes it.
Right.
It's, like telenovela level of drama. That's just not how life is. You know. So as far as Henry, the actor did a magnificent job where you get where she's coming from, you get what's going on.
Yeah.
You honestly can look at it and go, wow, she's being a real bitch.
Yep.
But on the same note, right? At the same note, the other half. You
still understand why, where she's coming from.
Well, exactly. Because the adult is like, what a mouthy little motherfucker. But then the other, back in the part of your brain, that one little lobe is like, remember, that was you.
Yeah.
Exactly you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
But it still doesn't mean I can't be outraged by her behavior in this day and age.
I was bitchy.
Because I got past it.
Yeah. You get to the point where you're like, enough.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
I really technically, aside from that edit.
That
you brought up, that weird cut.
That was very weird.
Yeah. Who knows what happened there? I mean, if this was a shoestring budget and
just out of film school.
Yeah. And I wonder, I would imagine it was shot on film because there really wasn't much in the way of digital.
2004.
Not for an indie filmmaker.
I mean, 50-50, depending.
So let's go. So 2004, right? I was a professional photographer and the best cameras had 6.2 megapixels. Okay. And
It
that
probably
was,
would have been on film. I was a junior in high school.
Yeah.
2004.
And it was expensive. So I can only imagine cameras. Because I don't think it was until 2010 or 12 that somebody announced they shot everything in digital. Or maybe Lucas did shoot.
It must have been before.
I think he shot Star Wars digital. Someone did.
So.
Anyway, if you have a shoestring budget, you're not getting tons of digital equipment.
Right.
It just wasn't that good. That's the thing. Now, the pictures I took from back then are almost indistinguishable from now, but it's, again, when you start to size them up, boom, that's what it shows. Film, you can shoot film and then make it as big as you fucking want.
Yeah.
Anyway. So who knows what happened with that edit? I think that's the only thing that really stuck out. Otherwise, I thought it was pretty clean.
Yeah.
We knew where we were, what was going on.
Yes.
Really, the factory, grandmas, the casino, Chad's. That one.
And then some town.
And then some town stuff. Yeah, bit at the thing and what the museum.
There was a little bit of lumber yard.
Yeah, when she was trekking home through the lumber yard. Honestly, I watched that and I thought, oh my God.
She's going to die.
Remember when I said, this must have been before insurance.
Yeah.
Because
she's going to fall in a log pile and die.
God,
this movie's going to take a sudden, surprising turn.
To say that you're going to have a young actor climb a lumber pile in an active lumber yard. If you did that in Hollywood at a studio, you'd be like, out of your fucking mind. You need to get a stunt double. And also, B, we're not giving you the money for that because that's going to cost an enormous amount. So have her walk across the park.
The girl who played Henry did very well. This was her debut feature film.
Yes.
This was her first job.
She was phenomenal.
Yeah.
I mean, bam.
Yeah.
There's not like, in 10 years, she's going to look back and see that moment. She hit the cues. She physically, tonally, verbally painted the picture perfectly. And again, I think for her, the sets, the environment gave her everything she needed to excel.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, no one can do the work for an actor. But man, when you put an actor in a situation that's like, this is like Shangri-La. This is everything I need to feed off of. Bam. And they did. All of them did. She kept up with the adult roles really well. Chad was a little dry. I will say that. But here's the thing. It's one of those things, we've talked about this. Is the actor dry in delivering, or is the character just that way? And the actor's doing it that way. So this is that fine line.
It really towed that line.
Yeah. It was just kind of weird. I mean, there were a couple of moments where I felt like he was sort of like a third act utility. He was just there to, for her to bounce off of until
kind of,
because there wasn't a lot of dimension to him other than he's a typical idiot teen boy talking about blue balls.
Yeah.
And then talking like his dad. It's a little rough around the edges.
Right.
You know what? Henry should have turned around and just backhanded him. That's how you handle that bullshit straight off. You're a little rough around the edges. Then maybe you need to move on, son.
Right. Well, and then I loved the bit there that with Henry responding it basically in the most polite way she could that she was on her period.
Yeah.
Because you learn as a young teenage girl that the fastest way to get a boy to leave you alone is to tell him that you're on your period.
Yep.
Nothing will shut that shit down faster.
Oh,
for real though.
Well,
it's true.
So here's the thing about this movie. Done in 2004, right? So it's actually, we're coming up on, it's 18 years old. Right?
Yeah.
It could have been filmed yesterday.
It could have, yeah.
Because here's the thing. There's nothing in this movie that dated it. Because when you're shooting something in this lifestyle and everything, there's nothing. Everyone has old shit cars.
Yeah.
You know, I remember we went through. Lily wanted to know all about all my cars, and I went through the whole list of shit cars I had since I was 14,
Mm-hmm.
and she was just like, just stunned. It's a lot of cars. I'm like, yeah, and they were all sleds.
And she was like, how do you remember them? We
You
were like, because you remember all your cars, baby.
Yep. You never forget them, especially when they're all junk. And everyone had its own fucking habit, like the one that had a hole in the floor, the one
All
that
of
every
them
time
had
I
their own
shifted into a
story.
different gear, different parts of the car would raise and fall. Just, oh, yeah, so many things. But anyway, so Jim's car.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what year that fucking thing was supposed to be because I'm not sure what it was supposed to be.
Well, it from the outside looked like it was cobbled together from a bunch of different parts. It wasn't really any make or model of car.
Right. But, all the cars in the background were, Chad was driving like a 99 or 2000 Jeep.
Right.
Because I know Jeeps. I'm not a car person, but I know when Jeeps changed their body styles over the years because, became less truck-like. And anyway. But in her neighborhood, everyone has those old pickups.
Oh, yeah.
Everything from like 60s to 90s.
Mm-hmm.
If this is in 2000, someone might, or 2004, someone might have a 91, reliable used car kind of thing. Some of them look good, some of them look rough. It was like a good balance. It wasn't too much one or the other. Now, this is either luck of shooting in a neighborhood for establishing shots, right? And that's just how it looked. Or, they may have taken care to make sure these things, looked for places that had this look to it and stuff. I don't know. But anyway, back to the whole lumberyard thing. That was something.
Yeah.
But walking home, walking through town, all these shortcuts, places you aren't supposed to be.
Oh, absolutely not.
Right. But that's how it was. So this was written and directed masterfully.
Yes.
Full exhibition of knowledge of content, full knowledge of lifestyle to give us a legitimate plot and a logical, extremely well done progression through it.
Yeah. I think it was just a really lovely slice of life. I mean, this is your favorite kind of film.
It was. That's why I was heavily into it. And that's why I felt so like you. There's a lot of familiarity from growing up, but also the style of this film made me want to engage.
Yeah.
And like I said, I could get through it having witnessed, like a lot of my, friends were girls and they were crystal clear on how they got through life. Right.
Yep.
Same thing. So-and-so tried to get up my shirt and this and that. And then, well, what'd you do? Same thing. One, I told him I was on my period. Another one just quite simply, well, elbows and that shit real quick. So
to knees.
Yeah. Anything hard, sudden thrusts will put an end to advances.
It's real easy to accidentally elbow or knee something and go, oh, I'm so sorry. Did that hurt? Ooh, maybe we should.
Oh, see, my crowd, there was none of that. None of these girls ever apologized for what they did to guys who tried to and remember that.
I love it.
Yeah.
Respect.
Well, and that's also too, there's different environments of growing up like this. You grew up in a very different situation than I did.
Right.
But financially, we grew up in that same
bracket.
Palette. Right. But yours was more rural, kind of laid back, this sort of thing. There was that whole street thing to deal with too.
Yeah, yours was a little more urban.
A little bit,
than mine.
So yeah, the attitudes of the people you grew up with are different. Like I hear you talk with, Carla and everything. And I get it because I had family who, lived further out and, in rural settings and stuff. But as a whole, my similar situations went very differently.
It's funny.
Same
ending, different path.
Yeah. But that's the other thing. This movie, write what you know, but be faithful to what you know. They didn't make it more urban. Now, like even in 2004, I would hesitate letting my teenage daughter walk alone miles, right, in the dark at like midnight, 2 a.m. Call me old fashioned, but no.
Oh, really? I was a teenage girl in 2004 and I walked all over the place.
Yeah, but
on my own.
But would you do it here in Madison?
I might have, yeah.
But would you let Lily?
No.
Right. See, now I and some of my female friends were out until such hours. But again, it's a very different thing. You wouldn't do it alone. You always do it with others.
No, as a teenage girl, you get a dude group. That is the technical term.
Yeah.
You get a dude group, and these are dudes that have your back.
Well, that's just it. If
right?
you're alone, you're not going to get jumped. That's kind of the thing. Now, I wasn't like the male presence. It was just numbers. It could have been, 5 or 6 girls. That's too many to deal with. People are just, nope. There's too many knees and elbows. Right? But the other thing too is, we had all grown up that way. So absolutely 11 years old strolling around. I'm ready to throw down. Bring it, motherfucker. You want some of this? Come and get it. Because I'm not going to stop till one of us is fucking bleeding and unconscious. You have to have that mentality. That's why it's so weird to
compare.
When we talk.
Yeah.
But this one didn't take any extra steps. Everything fit. The community, the city where they lived, it was all logical and it didn't seem out of place or forced. And I like that. And again, that is just artful writing and filmmaking, direction and storytelling. It's just superb in this one.
I mean, it felt like a small Midwest industrial town, right?
Yes.
What else?
I think that's really it. Yeah. Music was here and there. It kind of fit the mood. Kids were listening to this music in the background for the grown-ups that are just, ding, 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 kind of, movement music and stuff. This really didn't give off any sense of patchwork.
No.
And we all know that indie films, sometimes you go with what you've got, and if it doesn't fit 100%, you just got to roll with it.
Right.
This one was very fluid. That one edit notwithstanding, everything worked tonally. Yeah. Everything was shifted. The subtle changes in color temperature, right? The
and it was also a very soft feel.
Yes.
Film. There were a couple of spots where focus was off a little bit.
I noticed that, and I was debating whether or not to bring it up. So there were, but here again, so it was Tubi, and Tubi is not rock solid. And also, we've had a lot of internet and cell phone issues in the last week because of major storms.
We didn't bring that up at the beginning, but there was this one time this week when someone cut a fiber optic cable for Verizon.
Yeah,
and
at
so
like 4:07 p.m. because you texted me at 4:06.
Yeah.
And then after that, I got nothing from you. I couldn't see where you were traveling. I didn't get anything. I didn't think about it because I was still working. Yeah. You were coming home from a work thing.
That was a nightmare.
So at about 4:07, everything fucking went dark. I mean, dark.
Yeah.
There was zero cell service. And by the time you got home, I called Verizon, and the people on Verizon were like, well, there's no problem listed. And then while I'm talking to them, because we can use Wi-Fi, we still had internet.
Yeah.
So using, computer, looking up Reddit, and there's all people all over Madison and Dane County like, where's my fucking phone service?
What happened?
Yeah, it wasn't a reduction. It was a full-on cut. It was like...
it was zero service. And I was out in an unfamiliar area.
Oh, God,
in a business park area that is like, we don't frequent that area in Madison. And I got turned around. I ended up going to like fucking nowhere.
Phones are great and stuff. And I love them. We have iPhones. I love them. I've loved them. But here's been my biggest bitch about all cell phones. None of them compare to a fucking GPS.
I know. And I was like, we don't have a fucking Garmin.
We did, but it fucked up us on the Georgia trip last year, so I took it back.
I can't even call Jim to let him know that I'm lost.
Right? But that's the thing, folks. FYI, in case you don't know, and most people should, but in case you don't, if your cell service goes flatline, your phone will not fucking get you anywhere, even though it has GPS in it. They are all designed to work with Wi-Fi and cell phone location. They ping.
I wonder if emergency services would have worked.
If there's no signal, it can't.
Because they're even if you have no service, they're required to.
No, if you don't have paid service, your phone can still connect to antennas.
Yeah.
Right? And if you dial 911, it will allow that connection to an antenna.
Without that fiber optic connection.
But when you don't have an antenna,
right?
Because there was no service, and it was a lot of people in southern Wisconsin. Anyway, and then we had some major storms. We had some power outages. We had some cable issues. So anyway, this goes back to those soft focus moments.
Yeah.
Couldn't say if it was an internet issue or if it was actually a production issue, because we've seen somewhere it has happened.
Right.
Right. If you do a shot and then later, especially when it's on film, you don't know until after the fact.
Yeah, until you
print it. That's the hard part. So when you print it and you're like, motherfucker, it's out of focus.
There's not a lot you can do.
Yep. Slap that bitch in and run with it. And then just do that old, I noticed that one part. You noticed that, did you? I was wondering if people would catch that. Sets the mood.
Right.
Just bullshit your way through
it. Caught that, did you?
Yeah.
Good for you.
So that's one or the other. Could have been just like a buffer issue with Tubi. Because it's not 4K. I mean, this thing, if it was film, it's been digitally converted, clearly.
Yeah.
But at a low rate. I mean, I think it barely qualifies as HDMI.
Right.
Level.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Very briefly, one of the lessons itself, I mean, kind of the main storyline of this movie is that, despite what it looks like on the outside, everyone's got their own problems.
Yeah.
Right? I learned that pretty quickly as a kid.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It helps to be an observant kid.
Yeah.
But
I mean, that when it happened, it was what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say it was obvious. It wasn't a surprise.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, obviously, this is where we're ramping up. So yeah, it's not a negative.
No.
But this didn't set us up for any kind of surprises.
No.
It's like a slice of life. It just, yep. Okay. I thought the ending was sweet. It wasn't perfect.
Right.
They're in a shit car with a cracked
windshield. Yeah, it is a shitty car.
But it's Kate's first fucking car.
Yeah.
With Henry.
Yeah.
So for 16
and probably her
years,
first car, period.
Could be. Yeah.
Right?
Hers.
Yeah.
Hers.
And they're stable.
Yeah.
Right? And they're thinking about looking for houses.
And
that's on the table soon.
So, Evergreen is a fantastic film. Another top-bottom series of lessons. A lot of good examples on stuff in here, and recommend that you see it so you can see it for yourself. And, pick the things you want to aspire to.
I mean, I would say the biggest lesson, don't be afraid to be too raw.
God, yeah.
Right?
That's the one thing I love about independent film, like we were talking about. That's why we do this, folks, because you're not going to find gutsy filmmakers in Hollywood. You aren't. And anyone who says this should get an Oscar because it was so raw and said, no, that's bullshit. Because I will hold that up against any one of these movies like this one.
Mm-hmm.
No. Studio films fucking suck. I mean, they can be entertaining. They are not creativity at their best.
That's why we haven't gone to see a movie in ages.
Right. This is what filmmaking is about. This is why we write. This is why you direct and you produce and you make music, whoever you are listening. This is the kind of shit, because these
are stories we want to tell.
Absolutely raw and unashamed.
Yeah.
And all the movies we've talked about, even the ones that didn't, hit the bar, right? We still say, you know what? I would rather be responsible for making a bunch of shit movies, Ed Wood style, than doing nothing at all.
The only bad movie is an unfinished one.
I won't go. Well, I'm not going to go that far because I'm entitled to my opinion. The only regret in filmmaking is an unfinished project.
There you
I'll
go.
say that. Right. Because there are stuff that is just bad. I mean, by every metric, kudos, you put your heart into it and stuff, but there's just nothing. We saw something recently that there's just nothing there.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
It is what it is. I don't want to get into it.
Unwatchable. Literally unwatchable. But this person made a movie.
Well, right. But yeah, there's not anything we could talk about.
No.
Yeah. It was a hard discussion. We won't get into that. But anyway, watch this movie. Lots of good lessons. Kudos to everybody. Super respect to every person involved in this film, because whoever had any bit to do with it obviously did their part, and it shows.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you're done watching this and you kind of wonder what else we've been talking about, if you're new, why don't you check out our website?
lordsofmisrulproductions.com.
That's right.
You can find everything there, all of our past episodes, our blog, links to where you can listen to us on your favorite podcast platforms.
Yep.
Email addresses to contact us. If you've done a film or done something cool, reach out to us. You can also find our links to our social media platforms. We're on the biggins.
Yep.
YouTube.
Yep. Yeah, there's a few, I think 3 of you.
Yeah.
Who listen to this through YouTube because I convert it.
Yeah.
For you, because you reached out. We quit for a while and had a couple
Some people wanted to listen on YouTube.
You know what? It's not a big deal.
That's fine.
When I stopped because I had to do it manually, but now
Yeah.
there's a service through our host that does it. And I'm like, damn.
Sure.
It takes me longer to do 5-minute BF McGillicuddy video processing than it does a hour and a half, 2 hour. But anyway.
Whatever. But also our merch store. We got some merch up.
Yeah.
It's fun stuff. And our Patreon link. If you like this show and you want to support us, go check out our Patreon.
Yeah.
You get episodes a week early.
Yeah. Again.
Okay.
Stopped for a while.
Well, when we were doing bi-weekly.
Cut back, yeah. Also, please like, subscribe. And if you have time,
rate and review.
Yeah, write a review. Rate with the review. Obviously, hopefully it's a good one. But yeah, liking and subscribing, you guys know all how it goes. Necessary thing. So we're going to ask all the time.
Yes.
And yeah.
I think that's it.
That's it. So, hope you have gleaned something from this week again. And we still have a slew of stuff. Actually, we found another one. We
did find another
we're going to cover that was accidentally, because I was just like, this, I think we should give this like a fucking look. And then you're like, yeah, we can cover that. And I meant to just watch it for you and me.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what? So I go back in. Female director.
Dope.
Like, fuck, must have been fate.
You know what else you can do?
Oh.
We were on the Just Don't podcast, and Miles has put that episode up. It'll have been up for a little while once this episode comes out.
Yeah, it'll be 2 weeks in.
But I've shared it on Facebook, and I think I've shared it on Twitter as well.
Just go to Just Don't podcast and look up the Machete episode. We're on it.
Yeah. And while you're there, check out his other episodes too, because Miles is fun to listen to.
Yeah, he's a fun dude.
Mm-hmm.
And then on that episode is links to all of his other stuff. Check him out. He's a friend of the show. He's a friend of ours. We love interacting with him. The dude is just so much fun.
Yeah. And he does a lot of other podcasts. I don't even know how many he does, like 4 or something.
I know.
Crazy.
It's one's up, one's down. It's this, it's that. But anyway, yeah. We got the links on that one.
Yeah, we do.
And there'll be others. If you go to one, you'll find links to more.
Heck yeah.
All right. So, B-siders.
Until next time.
Keep doing what you're doing.
This is
those films.
Yeah.
You just want to cut me off.
I'm trying.
Okay.
Finish your thing.
I just did. Write those films.
Are you done?
The way you want. No, I'm done.
This is Danny.
This is Jim.
Catch you later.
Bye.